Bardi Vasamsetty had been a legal green card holder for over a decade, 2 U.S. citizen children, 2 U.S. citizen grandchildren, severely diabetic, needing regular glucose monitoring. She did everything the system asked of her, and on August 11, 2026, that wasn't enough. Welcome back. If you're an elderly green card holder, or you have a parent or grandparent who is, stay with me for the next few minutes because what happened to her is exactly why the rules around ICE check-ins have quietly changed, and almost nobody has explained it clearly until now. Here's her story first, because you need to understand exactly how this unfolded. Vasamsetty went to India in 2022 to care for her own elderly sick parents. While she was there, she caught COVID, ended up hospitalized, and got stuck unable to travel. According to her attorney, when she finally made it back to the U.S., an immigration judge reviewed her case and dismissed the removal proceedings entirely. Case closed, or so it seemed. From that point on, she did exactly what she was told. Every scheduled ICE check-in, on time, every single time, no exceptions. On August 11, 2026, she walked into her check-in in Charlotte, just like she always had. She was taken into custody the same day. Let that sit for a second because this is the part that should genuinely concern you. A woman with a dismissed case, a decade of lawful status, U.S. citizen children and grandchildren, a documented serious health condition. None of it stopped what happened that day. So let's break down what an IC check-in actually is because a lot of families genuinely misunderstand this part. If someone was released from immigration custody or has an ongoing case, IC can require them to report periodically. This is called supervision and it is completely separate from a court hearing. These check-ins can happen in person, by phone, or through an app-based monitoring system. And here's the detail that catches people off guard every single time. The frequency of these check-ins is entirely at ICE's discretion, not yours. Immigration attorneys are seeing a clear pattern right now. People who used to check in once a year are now being told to come back every 6 months. Some are being moved to quarterly reporting, or even monthly. You cannot unilaterally decide to skip or reschedule one of these appointments without risking serious consequences, even if the reason is a genuine medical emergency. Now here's what makes Vasamsetty's case so important to understand, because it shows exactly how quickly a routine appointment can turn into something else entirely. According to her attorney, a court had already dismissed the government's removal case against her back in May. She had every reason to believe she was simply maintaining a formality by continuing to show up. Instead, her legal team says ICE apparently no longer recognized her green card status at all, and they've now filed an emergency petition in federal court challenging her continued detention. A judge ordered the government to explain, within 3 days, the legal basis for holding her. According to her attorney, that deadline came and went with no answer from the government. To be clear, this account is currently coming from her legal team, and the government has not publicly responded to these specific claims as of this recording. But a federal judge issuing a deadline, and that deadline being missed, is a matter of public record, and it tells you something on its own. Quick pause here because I want you to actually absorb what this means practically, not just emotionally. This isn't a story about one unlucky case. It's a signal about how these check-ins are functioning right now, in 2026, for anyone with a pending case, a supervision requirement, or even a technically resolved one. And this is the part that worries immigration attorneys the most. A dismissed case used to mean exactly that. Dismissed. Families would walk out of court, breathe a little easier, and treat every check-in afterward as a formality, a box to check, nothing more. Vasamsetty's case suggests that assumption may no longer hold the way it used to. If a resolved case can still end in detention, then the case is closed isn't the finish line families have long believed it to be. That single shift in how these appointments are being treated is exactly why preparation now needs to look different than it did even a year ago. So let's talk about what actually helps here, because preparation genuinely matters more than it used to. First, bring the right documents, and bring them in a physical folder, not just saved on a phone. That means valid ID, the green card or renewal receipt, any previous check-in paperwork ICE has already issued, proof of current address, and critically, medical documentation for any ongoing condition like diabetes, heart issues, or anything requiring regular medication or monitoring. If a serious health condition is part of someone's situation, that documentation belongs in the folder every single time, not just when it feels urgent. Second, and this one gets overlooked constantly, keep every address and contact update current with both ICE and, separately, the immigration court if there's a pending case. These are two different systems that do not automatically talk to each other. Missing a single notice because an old address was on file has derailed more cases than almost anything else in this entire process. Third, before a check-in, especially if there's been any change in the case, any prior conviction, even if it was resolved years ago or simply a pattern of increasingly frequent check-ins, this is exactly the moment to consult an immigration attorney beforehand, not after something goes wrong. An attorney can help assess whether there's a form of relief the person might not even know they qualify for, and can help prepare for exactly what that particular appointment might involve. If the person is elderly or managing a health condition, arrive early. These appointments almost always involve security screening and unpredictable wait times, and standing in a long line is genuinely harder on someone managing diabetes or a heart condition. Write down everything ICE says during the appointment, including any new reporting instructions or the next scheduled date. If possible, have a trusted family member email those notes to themselves immediately afterward with a timestamp. That small habit, a dated written record, can matter enormously if something later gets disputed. And here's a right worth knowing clearly, one that applies at any encounter with ICE, not just a scheduled check-in. Someone is allowed to ask directly, "Am I under arrest, or am I free to leave?" If the answer is that they're not being arrested, they are legally free to go. Nobody is required to answer questions about their specific legal status on the spot, and nobody should sign a document they don't fully understand, no matter how routine it's presented as being. Here's the honest, harder truth underneath all of this. Following every single rule perfectly, showing up on time, keeping documents current, doing exactly what you're told, is no longer the guarantee it once was. Vasamsetty did everything right. She had a dismissed case, she had a decade of lawful status, she had U.S. citizen children and grandchildren. None of that stopped what happened to her on August 11th. That's genuinely unsettling, and it's exactly why preparation matters more now than ever, not because doing everything right guarantees safety, but because it's still the single best thing anyone in this situation can actually control. Before you go, one important note. Nothing in this video is legal advice. Every immigration case involves details specific to that person's history, and the law around supervision and check-ins is shifting quickly right now. If you or someone in your family has an upcoming ICE check-in, especially with a complicated case history, please speak directly with a licensed immigration attorney who can review the full situation. If this video helped you understand something you didn't know before, that's exactly why this channel exists. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll keep following what happens with Vasamsetty's federal petition as it develops. And if you have an elderly parent or grandparent with a check-in coming up, send them this video today. A folder of documents and 5 minutes of preparation genuinely matter. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay prepared, and take care.